Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, I've created 10 builds in NBA 2K22 Next Gen, which is my favorite. So we're here to talk about that in today's video. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff, and like always, try 1 to 1,000 likes. Now, it's actually 9. I have to leave this last slot open right here to be able to create new builds, make build videos, whatever the case may be, so I'm kind of restricted to having 9. But anyway, you can see by either the team that I'm on in any of these or the date that I've last played on them. You can see which ones I've lost interest in or the ones that I created early on. So, for instance, with the Pistons, these are ones that I made early in the year, as well as the Nets ones too. The Nets and Piston ones are the ones that I made really early in the year, and the Nets ones are the ones that I took very seriously. Now, anything other than that, that's like Thunder, these are the ones I made after Rebirth. So we have the Versatile Paint Beast, the Paint Beast, and then we got the two-way slashing playmaker, Paint Beast, and two-way finisher. Now, what's even more funny about this is I have 2 builds that are literally titled two-way slashing playmaker, and I have 2 builds that are titled Paint Beast as well. So as you guys will see, I'm going to do a tier list on this stuff as well and let you guys know which one I prefer the most. But we're going to scroll from right to left and quickly showcase attribute ratings. I'm going to make a lot of cuts. It's going to take me a little bit of time to show these, but we should be able to get through this stuff in like less than 2 minutes with the cuts and stuff like that that I put in the video. So anyway, real quick, I just want to talk about the date that I've last played on some of these builds. So you can see this is my outside popper 7'3". I haven't played on this build since literally October, bro. And then with this one too, with the 6'8" that I created, there's no purpose of this build anymore. Honestly, some of these just got outdated or the meta fits a little bit of different builds that I have very similar to them. With the playmaking shot creator, I haven't really touched this build in a while. I made this before the Rebirth, and now it's just a really pain to grind, honestly. This is the one that I have the lowest rating on. I'm like a 92 on this, and it really didn't go anywhere. With these other builds though, a lot of them, like I'm talking nearly all of them, are pretty much 95, 96 plus. A lot of them are also 98, 99. Pretty much all the ones that I still like to play on have been played on within the month. So you can see the Versatile Paint Beast was played on the 6th. We have the 6th right here as well, the 30th, the 27th, then the 10th right here. This is my new build right here that I've been grinding a little bit more. It's the one I've been on very particularly, the 6'9" inside metric. But we'll get to all of this in a second. Like I said, we're just gonna go ahead and showcase the ratings. If you want to skip to the tier list, if you already know my builds and you're very familiar with all of these, you can go ahead and just skip to the tier list and I'll rank them in terms of how much I like them or how much I think they fit the meta in terms of if you guys would be able to try and use them. And last thing before we get into the build details, what I mean by that is essentially I have a two-way slashing playmaker. This is a 6'6" inside build with 25 3-pointer. It's something that I love and that I can utilize to my best ability with, and I think I'm really elite on this player. But with you guys, I don't think you would really prefer to play on a build like this, and I don't think it really fits into a lot of people's play style in the first place. So that's what I mean by that. I'm going to be ranking them based on how I like them, and then based on how I think it fits the meta of how much you guys would like to play on them. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be scrolling from left to right, which is very ironic because this is going to be the 5'9", the build that I've used the absolute least. And again, I made this before the Rebirth, so it was already super, like, inconvenient to grind, honestly. Like, I started with 0 badges on everything, and you can see I grinded up the shooting badges all the way to 22. I also will have some extra badge points to be using on all these builds. It's the ones that I haven't used the extra badge point on, you can bet I do not play on them anymore. So with this, again, the badge count was 1, 41, 36, and 27. The ratings were really fire on this one too. You can see this is one of those meta mini guards like the 5'9", and honestly, like the 3-point rating goes to 99, the ball handle rating goes to 99. You guys get the deal with this build. This is one that had a little bit of higher weight, so the perimeter defense was really good, but again, we're not going to spend too much time on all of these builds. The speed maxes out at 95, acceleration 96. You get the deal. It was pretty much a mini guard build that I just didn't have enough interest in using. I will maybe grind this one day and I may use this in videos, but honestly, it was just a little inconvenient, and now I feel like it's even a setback because I could literally make this build today and I would still have it at the same progress that I do right now, 90 overall with a decent, like, same set of badge counts. So the Rebirth definitely came up clutch, and that's the part of the reason I even have 9 builds in this game in the first place. Alright, so because we're scrolling from left to right, some of these builds that I'm going to showcase first are kind of trash if you ask me. If I could go back and redo them, I honestly would not be doing the same attribute ratings that I would. These aren't my first builds though. The first one I made the two-way slashing playmaker. I'm not sure why I made them in save file slot 4 and 3, but the two-way slashing playmaker 6'6", that's my first build, and then the 6'8" playmaking paint beast, that was my second one. So this is like my third right here, and then the playmaking shot creator was my fourth. But anyway, as for the attribute ratings, this was an outside popper 7'3" that I made when I was seeing that the meta was going to be these outside tall bigs, but honestly it ended up shifting more so to like 7'2s are what's really valid. It gives you the 80 mid-range rating to get the Hall of Fame sniper, or just on top of that too, you have the vertical rating that you would want for like elite big man contact dunks, whatever the case may be. This one right here I also made with ball handle and speed with ball upgraded. I'm not gonna lie, I actually did like that aspect of this build a little bit, to be honest, that I haven't done on my other tall bigs, or my other 7'3", I should say. But anyway, the one thing that this is lacking, tremendously is close shot rating. I honestly made this for park. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna need close shot. Who cares about close shot? I'm just getting standing dunks or just driving dunks off the pick and roll. Little did I know the power of the mashing and all types of stuff like that. I have no post control on this build either. Overall though, it looks solid, but honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this build by any means, so it's not exactly my favorite. And then for the badge counts, we had 17, 20, 16, and 41. It's a pretty well-rounded build, to be honest with you. I also have 2 extra badge points to be used on this, so honestly, just add 2 to whatever the total counts are if you're trying to put that into perspective compared to the other builds. But either way, you can see, I mean, it has like horrible, like no grace under pressure because of my close shot rating. Mouse in the house is on like bronze. I mean, it's not ideal, bro. I'll say that much in terms of the meta of the game, to be honest. All right, so next up, we have the Playmaking Paint Beast 6'8". Now, this one is the most outdated build that I have by all means. I mean, honestly, I don't think you should ever make a 6'8" in this game at all anymore, for being completely honest. I feel like the 6'9" metric build is just better than this in every aspect of the game. Now, the one thing this is better at is the fact that it has 80 ball handle, which I will give it credit for. And as far as how this stacks up against the 6'9" metric, it just has better steal rating for the Hall of Fame interceptor, has better block rating as well. It's like a ½ inch taller, still a little bit faster even at that, or more so the same speed if I ended up having the same interior defense for the silver brick wall. But either way, long story short, I don't think this build is that great, but it is a little bit outdated. I don't have any post control on it either. I would like to have like around 70 on that, if we're being completely honest. It gives the comfortability of having not really getting like the ball poked from you or anything like that. I think the close shot and all that stuff is like okay, but honestly, I just don't think this build is like super meta. It just gets outclassed by the 6'9" metric builds that I have, the 2 of them, because the steal rating is just good enough to have the Hall of Fame interceptor. The 90 steal rating stops you from getting stunned so much. Overall, this build just had a couple flaws to it that wasn't really known in the game. And again, we didn't know about the metric build in the first place either, so you had to be 6'7" to have 90 plus steal rating. So honestly, it's just the more you know, the worse this build becomes essentially over the course of the year. I'm also realizing this video is gonna be like an hour long if I don't just hurry up with the descriptions on this. So anyway, we still got the tier list and stuff that I'm trying to do as well. So we're gonna speed this up just a little bit. So we have the 7-footer right here. This is one of my favorite builds. I will just let you guys know that off rip. The 7-footer with really crazy stats. This has 6'11" stats technically, and you're gonna see like it has 74 speed, 85 vertical, at 7 feet tall. It has really good interior defense, block rating, rebound. It still has good steal and perimeter D for how tall it is as well. Still has actually pretty solid ball handling ability. Like, I mean, 65 ball handle. It doesn't give you very good animations, but you can still move with it very manageably. And then again, free throw rating still pretty good. 99 standing dunk, 93 close shot for the Hall of Fame mouse in the house and grace under pressure. 85 driving layup. The one downside to this build is the fact that I don't have one more driving dunk. If I had one more driving dunk, that'd be so fire. I could get the like pro contact dunk packages. It'd be so crazy. But unfortunately, with this 6'11" metric build that you have right here, it doesn't give you that. It'd have to be around like 6'11" base stats or 6'10", whatever the case may be. But anyway, overall, I do like this build quite a bit. The badge count, 41 out of 0. For any rebirth build that you make, you get the bronze slippery off ball for free as well if it has more than 40 mid-range. It's kind of just a cool addition for the rebirth builds. But anyway, 18 playmaking, 36 defense, 40 finishing. Once again, I mean, this is crazy, bro. It really has so much ability when it comes to just being really fast, really good pick and roller, really good masher, while still being a little bit undersized for the defensive purposes. This is the build that I've been using in Pro-Am a whole lot more recently, and I have been loving it, but I think I might move off it pretty soon. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but either way, it's still a really good build. I definitely recommend this to you guys for Pro-Am 2s, 3s, the list goes on and on. It's a great big man build. All right, next up we have the OG 6'6" two-way slashing playmaker. This is the first build that I made all year. There will be a couple mistakes made with it. You can see though how much I've used this build. I'm almost 3 million my points into the 99 overall, so I've played on this quite a bit throughout the course of the year. Anyway, with this though, you can see the ratings are a little bit flawed in some aspects. I don't have 90 steal rating on a 6'6" build. That's the ultimate first problem that I did with this build. I didn't give it that ability. I also don't have 85 ball handle, so I don't get some good dribble packages, but honestly, it's still very doable, especially in the slasher sense of things. And then again, some people are going to hate on this build because it has 25 three-pointer, 25 mid-range. I didn't plan to play any pro-am with it either, so it's 25 free throw. It literally has 0 shooting on it at all. With this though, it has 99 driving dunk, 80 driving layup. That's another thing I will say too that was kind of flawed with it. I don't exactly have as many finishing badges as I would like on this one. Also, my close shot rating wasn't high enough to the point where it would put my mid-range to 40, so I didn't really even get the point where I would have the slippery off ball on bronze. And again, it was made before the rebirth, so I wouldn't even have the 1 out of 0 shooting badges anyway. 29 playmaking, 35 defense. There's just a couple ratings is all that I really like kind of messed up on this build. I should have just gave it at least 90 steal. That would have been very ideal. after that, it really would have been a pretty decent build, to be honest with you. I don't think it would have been that bad, and I was loving this early in the year. Like, 99 driving dunk, I thought was crazy, like a super glitch. Like, I was over here just dunking on everybody with the dunk meter, and nobody else was making a dunking build. And again, this is my thing kind of too. I'm very original in this sense. I like to play with builds that don't have any shooting. It's a handicap that I enjoy on 2v2, and for another purpose as well, I think I can still get away with not having shooting when it comes to 3v3. For Pro-Am, it's a whole different story. You have to be a lot taller, but either way, you guys get the deal. Also, I didn't need to put like 97 vertical on this. That's not really necessary by any means. It's a little bit over the top. Alright, from this point forward is pretty much all builds that are very new and that I still use very consistently. So with this one right here, we have the 7'3", just pure inside build. This is made strictly for Pro-Am. It has 99 close shot, 99 standing dunk, 81 post control, 71 driving dunk. Doesn't have the greatest driving layup, but it's not what it was intended for in the first place. Also, it has enough shooting badge points and enough of a mid-range rating for me to have silver slippery off ball. The story behind this, I accidentally did this. I knew I was going to get 1 out of 0 like shooting badges, but I was just super tired in the moment, and I was putting the extra shooting badge on because I thought that's what I had to do to get bronze slippery off ball. Either way though, what I ended up doing is I put 2 extra shooting badge points into this build on top of the 1 out of 0 that I had, so you can see it's 3 out of 2, and it gives me silver slippery off ball. Was it worth it? Not really, to be honest with you. I wish I had those 2 extra badge points back. I'd definitely just put it into defense, have like 42 with 34 finishing, 16 playmaking. Again, just to look at the attribute ratings, it's just the epitome of what I wanted for like Pro-Am at that point in time. What I've realized though is I don't like being such a liability with ball handling and speed with ball. It's not really ideal if you ask me, and honestly it's kind of, I would say, like a mid-tier build for me at this point. Alright, so next up we have my new slasher. So this is pretty much the rebuild of my 6'6" from the beginning of the year. So this is a metric build that shows up at 6'7" but has 6'6" stats. So you're going to see it's pretty much the exact same thing as my previous build, but you can see I have the 90 steal rating, I have elite perimeter defense, really good speed, balanced a little bit more on the vertical rating, and overall it has everything that I had on the other build, but a little bit better. It has more close shot too, where I'm a little bit more reliable in terms of finishing on smaller guards. It also has some post control, which I really wanted. I really, when I rebuilt this build, wanted to have more post control and more close shot than the other one did, because if I don't get open on a driving dunk, I wanted to be able to just mash smaller guards and just take advantage of the fact that they are too little to have any interior defense aspect or any effect on that. As well as I only have 45 standing dunk. This is still very manageable to be able to get them to fire off. It's very good, and combined with 75 close shot, it's still enough for gold fast twitch. The list goes on and on. It's definitely the rebuilt version of the 6'6" that I still love to play on, but it's just the better version of it. Quick look at the badge count: 27, 1, 28, and 38. I have an extra badge point to put on, but I don't know what I want to do with it yet, so I'm just holding on to it. But anyway, I don't have enough mid-range rating for that slippery off ball on bronze, so I just don't get it. Simple as that. But it really doesn't matter, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. Alright, so this player right here, he's a young pup, alright? He's not that good yet, but this dude is going to be a dog eventually. 94 overall is all I have it at right now. Essentially, it's a 6'9" metric version that is an inside build. So this is essentially me tweaking the 6'8" that I had at the beginning of the year. So these last 2 builds that I've showcased, the 6'7" with 6'6" stats, and then this one right here, the 6'9" metric as an inside, it's the redone versions of my 2 favorite builds that I had at the beginning of the year, or my 2 earliest builds, and just doing them better, essentially. So I just remade them. So with this one right here, we have 93 driving dunk, 84 standing. The finishing is just absolutely well-rounded, through the roof, super good. So other than that, it's pretty much just, like I said, redoing the build. I have 90 steal rating, I have 95 block as well with the Hall of Fame Intimidator. I have less ball handle and speed with ball than I did in the other one. Obviously, I had 80 ball handle on the 6'8". It is what it is. Honestly, this is just 10 times better when it comes to fitting the meta of the game. It fits the big man spot really well as well. And overall, it's just really disgusting paired with the Hall of Fame Interceptor. The list goes on and on. It's really good. And the finishing count, we have 33, 1 out of 0, that we actually do get the slippery off ball on because the close shot is high enough. And then 23 playmaking points and 43 defense, an absolute lockdown. This build is probably what I'm going to use for Pro-Am coming up here. We're thinking about maybe running 3, 6, 9 metric builds at the 3, 4, and the 5. So we'll see about that. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this build or not when it comes to Pro-Am yet. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a possibility, and it's definitely what I'm going to try first and foremost, as long as it works. Alright, so for the last build that we're going to showcase right here, it's the 6'9" metric that is an outside version. So essentially it takes all of the close shot, standing dunk, post control, offensive rebound, pass accuracy that I had in the other build, and just transforms it all into shooting. So I have 77 3-pointer. I haven't got my mid-range up to the point where I have the Hall of Fame sniper yet. It does go to 80 though. It's just I haven't really grinded that out to this point. I'm getting really close though. Almost a 98 overall. I just need a few more of my points to get that, and then when I hit 99, it will have the Hall of Fame sniper. With this, we have 15 finishing, 22 shooting, 18 playmaking, and 42 defense. Alright, so on that note, like I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and put these in a tier list, and this is going to be my personal opinion of how much I like each build for myself. I'm going to do it afterwards and maybe showcase just which ones fit the meta better or which one fits your guys' likely play style. And essentially, what is going to be this tier list is me giving a little bit more leeway to builds that can't shoot, and then in the ones where I'm going to do it for you guys, I'm going to maybe penalize the builds that can't shoot a little bit more. So anyway, moving along. I'm going to go ahead and just go by tier. I'm going to drop the S tier, the A tier, go from top to bottom and just talk about the builds that I like the most. And we're going to do this somewhat quick. I've already gave you guys my opinions on the builds. You probably already know what the list is going to look like based on how I was giving the feedback on them. I just want to put this together in a condensed form. So anyway, I want to talk about the ones that I like the most. We're going to start from S and go down to F. So I am going to say the 6'9 metric inside and the 7-footer. These are my two favorite builds. They're absolutely S tier to me. I think these are absolutely dominant in terms of their versatility. The 6'9 metric inside that I have now is ridiculous when it comes to perimeter defense and interior defense paired together, and also speed on the pick and roll game, still to be able to mash smaller guards or just even people who just are my same size as well. I love it, everything about it. And I don't care that the build can't shoot, to be honest with you, and same goes for the 7-footer. I really don't care that it can't shoot. I mean, at the end of the day, it's so fast and the physicals are insane. It just moves so good for a 7-foot tall build. The only downside to it compared to this one is that it doesn't have crazy passing lanes, but with this it has more length, more height, more rebounding, more interior defense, a higher level of brick wall, better mashing, whatever the case may be. Either way, these are my two favorite builds, no doubt. Also, you can see the key in the bottom left as well. Yellow equals big, green equals shooting build, and then blue equals slasher. So just understand, the blue means anyone that's like undersized and doesn't have any shooting on it. Yellow means someone that's like just tall, so like the 7-footer and 7'3", and then green means anything with shooting on it. So the 6'9 metric, the 5'9 guard at the beginning, and the 7'3 garbage popper. Moving along, we got the A tier. These are builds that I still really like, but I don't think they're quite as good as the two above them. And again, we'll maybe compare and contrast between the two of them. I like the 6'9 metric inside a little bit more than the 6'7 with 6'6 stats. We have the 7'3 inside as well, where I like the 7-footer a little bit more than the 7'3 inside. And then we'll even compare with another metric build. I like the inside metric a little bit more than the outside one, where this has the ability to score on the interior, the close shot, the standing dunk, the post control, all types of stuff like that, the better offensive rebound rating. I can see the differences between those two things. And with this metric right here, yes, it has the ability to shoot, but I don't like it quite as much, but I still do like it quite a bit. These are my top 5 builds right here. All these other ones, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, they're kind of trash. Like, I will say the 6'6 slasher, I will give this the B tier. I do like this build still, but I don't think it's quite as good. I think I have a better version of it now with the 6'7 with the 6'6 stats. Again, this is pretty much just the new version of my slasher. This one right here was the one that I made from day one. I still love it, but I made it better, so there's really no purpose or point of me playing on this ever again, to be completely honest with you. But overall, I do still like the way this plays. Next up, we have the 6'8 slasher coming into the D tier. We're gonna go ahead and just skip the C entirely. I think this one right here, again, is just outdated. There are multiple builds that I have now that play better than it. I have the 6'7 that plays better than it. I have the 6'9 outside metric that can shoot and do pretty much everything the same. I have the 6'9 inside metric that I love and is a lot better when it comes to the defensive ability of it. I just think this one is very outdated. It's not a horrible build. I just don't like it anymore because I have so many better options than it. And then we have the 7'3 popper. This one's going to be E tier to me. Again, just better options out there. I mean, if I want to go with a shooting build, I'll just run the 6'9 metric, which has the insane ability at passing lanes, still has better ball handle rating, still has driving contact dunks at that as well, and then has like even just as good shooting, or if not better shooting actually, because it has the Hall of Fame sniper. I just feel like this is very outdated. It's not a good build anymore, and I kind of messed up on it, to be completely honest. And then, this is for my personal opinion. Me personally, I just don't like playing on these builds. You guys understand? I mean, this doesn't fit my style. Maybe I'll do it for videos down the line and anything like that. And at the end of the day, it's just park. I could play park on a guard plenty manageably, but will I ever hop out here on Pro-Am or like stage on a 5'9 guard? No way. And even at that, again, I already talked about the beef that I have with this build. I don't have it upgraded, and it's very frustrating that I've already put that amount of time into the build just for the rebirth to come out, and now the rebirth gets me to the exact same point as I just grinded for this with the 20-something shooting badges and like 10 playmaking and 8 defense. It's a little frustrating. I'm trying to think of how I'd even grind this out in the first place. It's not worth me paying someone to do, and even at that, I don't even do that in the first place either. Every one of my builds, I sit here and grind every single time, and it's just not worth it to do that for this build right here at all. So anyway, this is my tier list for how I like the builds. again, the top 5 really fire. I love all these 5 builds right here, and anything below that I don't really see myself playing on ever again, to be completely honest. Like, again, I upgraded this build right here, I upgraded this build, and again, these two are just, this one's outdated and this one I just don't really know if I'm ever going to play on it, but it is my one and only guard build, so maybe I will end up upgrading this and testing it out a little bit. Anyway, we are going to quickly just show the full list of all the builds that I would recommend for you guys, because I don't want to spend too much time on that one right there, but I will just lay it out in this exact form in whatever I think is going to fit your guys' preference a little bit more. Alright, so here's a look at how I'd assume you guys are going to look at these builds. What stands out most notably is that my 6'6 slasher, I know a lot of people hate on this build. Obviously, a lot of people don't like the fact that I'm so short with no shooting ability. It doesn't fit their playstyle or their preference at all. And even at that, one of my favorite builds right here is just something that I don't think you guys would like either, with 6'7" with the 6'6 stats. Honestly, I do think that you guys could probably utilize or would like the 7'3 popper a little bit more than me. I just don't like its like lack of close shot or post control, to be honest. And what I use these tall bigs for more so is for pro-am. I don't really like running the 7'3s when it comes to park. It doesn't really fit my like fun style as much, where this build right here, like 6'9 inside metric, it's fun and it's comp, if you ask me. It's the perfect mesh between both. With the contact dunks, you still have the 6'9 metric outside that has the contact dunks too. So to start from the top, and we'll just talk about that as we move down to the bottom, and I'll just skip over this stuff I already talked about. But the 5'9 guard, we all know it's the meta build at the guard spot. Maybe it's changed a little bit in terms of maybe more driving dunk is nice to have, in terms of some people run 65, some people run 74 for the quick drops and just the limitless takeoff levels. But either way, the 5'9 guard build is still rules at the point guard spot. And then the 6'9 metric outside, this is the best build in the game, if we're being completely honest. I mean, as far as the lockdown and the big man spot goes, I think this is the best you could possibly do as a casual player or as a comp player either. For my style, I like the inside a little bit more. I feel like I can utilize those abilities to an extent, and honestly, shooting's not my favorite thing to do in the first place. So either way, in the A tier for you guys, I have 3 inside builds. So I have the 7'3 inside, I have the 7-footer inside, and the 6'9 metric inside. All of these builds can viably run the big man, and they're all good in their own different way. 7'3 is so dominant when it comes to the interior scoring, and it's elite when it comes to interior defending. Hall of Fame brick wall as well. Crazy amount of defensive badges. The 7-footer is so versatile on everything, offensively and defensively. It's crazy. And then the 6'9 metric, I feel the exact same way. These two builds right here are the tweeners that are really good in terms of just supplying you really good perimeter and interior defense while still having really good offensive abilities. The 7-footer is a little bit more limited though. Obviously, it's not the same amount of ball handle rating as the 6'9 has, and the 6'9 has the driving contact dunks. So honestly, they're both pretty good, but I definitely would recommend the 6'9 if you want to do more things offensively. 7-footer, really elite as a like really good role player or a glue guy, if you will. Moving down along, again, I have the 6'7, which is pretty much the revised 6'6 day 1 slasher. I think it's a really good build if you want to make one of those inside slashers. Again, this one is just better than the 6'6 in every aspect of it, and I really do love playing on this build. The ball handle rating is still very good. It can get you open as a slasher very manageably. It's just you have to like playing like this. That's what the real number one thing comes down to, and that's why I think I have it in the C tier. Honestly, you could make the case that it's maybe even in the D tier. Like, for instance, I could flex this list in terms of someone who absolutely hates running on like smaller builds that have no driving dunk ability, and this is what it would probably look like. You wouldn't like running on any of these builds at all, and the 6'6 would probably be your least favorite. 6'8 you could maybe show some love to just because it's a little bit taller, and then this one right here, it just fits the meta. It's really good with the steal rating and everything. So long story short, you could go about that whichever way you want in terms of this one or the other one, but honestly, this is how I feel like you guys would maybe react to these, and I do think if you're going to be on an inside build, it likely could be these 3 right here to fit the meta. Now, this is still mad fun, though. These 6'6 and 6'7s right here in the inside, like, pure slashers, they're mad fun, bro. I have so much fun playing like this, but I understand that it's not comp. It's not going to get you a lot of wins. It's not going to be very easy to use. You can't shoot the ball. You have to find your way to score on the interior. You have to be a high IQ player in terms of passing when teams are trying to force the switches off on you, and just make really quick decisions in terms of stopping teams from getting those switches off on you and putting the big man on you and dotting your big to let him shoot the ball before they can get the smaller guy onto him. Long story short, they're hard to work with, but they're very fun to do if you run it the right way. Anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. And like always, let's try 1,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put your favorite build of mine. I want to hear what you guys like watching the most. I want to hear what you think is the best build, whatever the case may be. So leave all that feedback in the comments and let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.